Hello everybody and welcome to Saturday, where we're just going to talk about something random, and that something random is I actually saw the Thor Love and Thunder movie, and I'm going to give you a non-spoiler review. So let's keep it classy in the comments and not spoil the movie for everyone, but let's jump into what I think and whether or not this movie is worth your time. Taika Waititi does something very unique in all of his movies, and that is he has this certain way of doing humor, and it's sometimes very sophomoric humor, and that is kind of what we get throughout this movie. If you're going and expecting it to be completely serious, you're not going to get that. But it doesn't lose anything from being a little bit slapstick as well. In fact, the movie actually builds up to a good climax, and it actually does something unique. It gives us a look at where the MCU should go, much the way a lot of the films have been lately. As divisive as the Marvel Cinematic Universe seems to be for a lot of fans right now, it really is all about perspective and whether or not you're enjoying what you're seeing. Now, there's nothing wrong with Marvel having comedy. They've always had comedy, but when you look at Thor, how are you supposed to take him serious? Chris Hemsworth is very funny, and the fact that he can do all this stuff and make it actually funny helped to garner what we now see as Thor in the MCU. And it's not a bad thing. Look at the very first movie. It only worked because it was a fish out of water love story. Fish out of water love stories usually work out well, because you have this sort of slapstick thing going on to begin with. And even though they treated that film really serious, you still could laugh at Thor looking at the world that he had never seen, and then falling in love with Jane Foster. So then you go to the second movie, and the second movie was much more in the vein of let's explore his world a lot better. And what you get is kind of this darker movie, and because it was so dark, and a lot of people thought it was really boring, a lot of people thought that that was one of the worst, if not the worst, Marvel Cinematic movie we've gotten so far. And so they took a look at Thor and they said, wait a minute, in the Avengers, Chris Hemsworth is cracking jokes. And since he can crack jokes and make light of situations and do that really, really well, maybe we should add a little bit more humor into the Thor movies. We got the last Thor movie, which was a box office success, and everybody loved the humor in that movie. A lot of people, however, did say that it needed to take itself more seriously, but how do you take that plot seriously? So now they have this situation where they have the female Thor, and everybody was scared about that. That was one of the things that a lot of people said they were not going to watch the movie for. The comics did it, and people complained when it was a plot in the comics, and it worked out really well in the comics. If you have not read that story arc, it actually is probably one of my favorite story arcs that Thor has ever had. And Thor's had some awesome story arcs, just coming off the original Sin story where Thor is deemed unworthy. Now you have this situation where there's this girl that takes his place, and this worked out well for this movie. It didn't follow that plot. So it did sort of follow Jane Foster's side of the plot. And that worked really well. The movie does treat itself like slapstick, But I feel that when you're looking at the Thor that you have in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, when you're looking at this character, you can't make him the wisecracking superhero that Spider-Man is. You can't make him the wisecracking hero that Iron Man is. But if Thor could see humor in the things that are around him, and the other people around him can see the humor in the things around them, then I don't think that's too bad of a situation. Especially, I knew how this movie was going to play out before I saw it, and the reason I knew was because they had said that we were going to see the Guardians of the Galaxy. And you know that if you see the Guardians of the Galaxy in the movie, that their part of the movie is hardly ever serious. So you knew right away that there was going to be some humor in this movie that was a little bit over the top. And this movie kind of runs with that during a lot of the movie. And that's why you get a lot of people that are coming out of this movie a little bit confused. What did I just watch? Was this trying to be a comedy? Was this trying to be a superhero movie? And the answer, my friends, is kind of both. It couldn't take itself seriously and do what it had to do. You literally meet other gods in this movie, and in order to do that, you were going to have to either A, treat them as super scary beings, or you were going to have to treat them a little bit humorous. And by treating them a little bit humorous, you set up some stuff that's farther down the line. Marvel Cinematic Universe right now is going to a more cosmic level threat. And by doing this movie in this humorous way, I really feel like that's what they did. So, yes, I am focusing on the fact that this movie is very slapstick, very funny, but it does have a lot of great action scenes in it. The action scenes with both versions of Thor, the Jane Foster Thor and our regular Thor, they are brilliant. They are so wonderful. And all the characters in the movie really sell their roles and do what they have to do. And I think that that makes for a really good time. So whether you think that they overacted or that they didn't hit their marks when the jokes were supposed to be over the top funny, no matter how you walk out of this movie, if you stick around till the end credit scenes, it's done what every single Marvel movie so far in this phase has done. And that is set up this possible cosmic level crazy thing that they are going for in the future. And this one doesn't set up a cosmic level, but it does give you hope that in the future, if they do show what happens to Thor after this movie, we could get a little bit more serious tone. But at the same time, when you have Chris Hemsworth who can pull off the comedy like he does, and Taika Waititi taking over the Thor series and doing what he did with it, I'm down for whatever he does next. Because the threat here that they set up is going to be fun. It's going to be fun to watch. And then the fact that this cosmic level threat is coming in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. I've heard a lot of people say that they just want Marvel to get to it. I don't know if I just want Marvel to get to it. But anyway, without spoilers, let me know what you thought of this movie. Alright, so I give this movie 4 out of 5 stars, only because I feel like some of the jokes really didn't work. But I want to know what you think in the comments, but please do try to keep it spoiler free. Because, you know, we don't want to give out spoilers to any of the fans, but we definitely want to hear from you in the comments. Also, hit that like button because it's free, doesn't cost you a thing. YouTube seems to really like it when you do that, and we like it too. And then also, don't forget to share this video with all of your friends so they get the same great content that you're getting. And then Miko says we need more subscribers, and you don't want to disappoint Miko. So go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit that notification bell so you don't miss a single video we do. And we will see you Tuesday, friends. And remember, at the end of the day, friends, fandom is family.